There's another monster. I mean, that's what you call an onion. Absolutely over the moon. Over the moon. Right, let's get the rest of them up. So I'm back at the plot. And you may have noticed from my last video that is a lot of stuff that needs harvesting. It all sort of went a bit crazy when I was away on holiday. So I think the plan today is going to be definitely the onions are going to come up. I've got 2 beds of those and I'm going to get some brassicas that are in the cold frame into there. That was the plan. Let me show you what I'm going to do. So as you can see, this bed, these onions are ready. They're ready. They've got to come up, but they are superb. So let's get them up, get these nets off. These ones are later planted. These were planted in the spring, but these were overwintered. So there I'm going to leave longer to develop. They're stew on. But these ones and some of these in here, well, most of these in here are the Japanese overwintered onions. Some are bigger than others, but then these are all ready to come up as well. Let's get the nets off, get it done. So I'm not going to take these hoops out because I'm going to be using these for the brassicas, and I'll just drape the netting back over, so that'll be a quick thing to do. But got to get these onions up now. Let me I might just use a fork just to tease them out, but they're really well on the surface. So happy with these, considering last year it was a disaster, complete fail, because I didn't realise, it was my first year on this plot, and I didn't realise that there was Allium Leaf miner in this area. And anyway, they were all infected. But these have been amazing because I've just covered with veggiemesh. As soon as I put them in, all the alliums did exactly the same, and they've been great. Right, let's get them up. As you can see, they are ready. So when they start bending over like that, you know they're ready. The stems. Now, I've never had a problem with white rot in this bed last year or anything like that. So, and I can't see any signs of it at the moment, but we'll have a little check when we take them out. There we go, first one. Looks like a good one. It did rain heavily last night, so we've got a bit of moisture there. But I'm just looking for the telltale signs of like a white, powdery, fungusy type thing, and there's nothing. And they feel really solid. Now, if you had white rot in there, you'd get those signs of sort of fungus and white, powdery residues, and like a white fungus growing on it. And also, they'd be quite soft and squishy. Now, that is a good one. Right. Look at the size of it. Right, next one. There's another monster. I mean, that's what you call an onion. Absolutely over the moon. Over the moon. Right, let's get the rest of them up. So I mean, this is what I call some good sized onions. They're as big as my head. Look. So I'm happy with those. I'll show you what I've harvested there. I've done the 2 beds. I didn't show you, I didn't film the other bed because it's pulling up onions. So now this, just to show you, it's all not all success, is it? See this deformity on this one? Yeah, this is some leaf miners got into this, and there's a couple more over there. But do you know what? Considering what happened last year, I'm over the moon. So let me show you the haul, the bumper harvest. So this is from the first bed that I harvested. So there's some huge onions in there. Most are actually really, really big. So happy with those. Very happy. And then this is the second bed that I harvested. There is some of the good sized ones there, and then some smaller ones, which is absolutely fine. These are all Japanese overwintered onions. I think it's planted about, I think they were October, November time. So I'll show you now. I'm going to pop them into here to dry. I'll show you how I dry the onions upside down. This is just an old, you know, they're one of those plasticky mini greenhouses that just got multifunctional for me. So seedlings, and then I'll use them for drying out. I use them for drying out the shallots, which are now nice and dry. So let's get that done. So all I'm going to do is attempt to feed some of these through here. Some of them are quite large, as you can see. So the plan really is, as you can see, like that. Now that will just let all the excess moisture sort of drain from these leaves. That's the plan. Let them dry out. But first of all, I'm going to let them dry out in the sun for a little bit, and then they're going to go through here. So I'll just show you how I'm going to do it. Not as easy when they're quite green, these leaves. I'm going to leave the leaves on to die down naturally, but this is going to be the idea, what I'm going to be doing in all this rack. So 2 levels of it. Yeah. And then I'll let them dry out. I'll keep them indoors, keep them in the shed, I think. Let them dry out, and then once they're fully dried, I'll take them home, put them in the garage to store. Nice, cool and dark in there. Okay. So they've had a little dry in the sun, and I've now popped them into this racking, which I think works really well. So they're just like fed through, and then these all dry out quite nicely. But yeah, and what I'll do each time I come to the plot, I'll bring these out, give them a dry in the sun, but I don't want to leave them out all the time in case it does rain. And then in the meantime, I'll just pop them in the shed each night. Happy with that. Right, what we need to do now is sort these beds out. Let's get the weeds out of them. And we're going to plant them up with some brassicas. Let's go. Okay, so got the weeds out of these beds. So I'm going to keep these hoops, and I'm going to cover them over with the netting that was on before. I'm quite aware that the brassicas are going to need more space than this. So in the meantime, that'll be fine. They'll be covered up from the cabbage whites and the pigeons, and then I'll just get some larger hoops for these and some netting for it. So yeah, I just mulched this, de-weeded it, and then put a bit bloodfish and bone down, and a thin layer of new compost over the top. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to plant each one as I normally would do, with a handful of chicken manure pellets. That always works well for a nitrogen boost. And what I thought was, these are the Romanesco cauliflowers. These are the ones, do you remember I sown these a few weeks back in preparation for replacing the onions in these beds? So these are going to go quite big actually. I've got 6 of them, but I still might put 6 in here. Even if they don't grow massive, that's fine for me. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And then I've got some Savoy cabbage and Primo cabbage out the cold room to go in the other bed as well. But let's get on with these first.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Okay, they're in. I'm going to go and do the other Primo and Savoy now in the other bed and give these a good watering in. Another job ticked off the list. My name's Will and you've been watching The Flying Gardener.